Hello, second grade. Happy January to all of you. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas break. Now we're back in it. We are back here in the winter. And I thought it might be fun to share a book that I'm very fond of called Snowmen at Night. Some of you might have read this book before. There's a couple of them. There's Snowmen at Night, Snowmen at Work, a couple of others. And one of the things that I really enjoy about this book is that it tells a story of events that happen in order. You know, first this thing happens, and then the next thing happens, then something happens after that, and finally the last thing happens. And if you remember in reading, we talked about that being called sequence. When things happen in an order, it's called a sequence. So when we're reading this book today, I need you to pay real close attention to the sequence of events in this story. What happens first? What happens next? What happens at the end? And we're going to spend some time at the end talking about our sequence words. And some sequence words are pretty easy. There's a lot of them. We're going to use just a couple of the easy ones. So when you're listening to this story, pay real close attention to what order things are happening. Okay, Snowmen at Night by Carolyn Buhner, pictures by Mark Buhner. Okay, first of all, got the boy rolling his snowman. So far, the story hasn't started yet, but already some things are happening in order, aren't they? One wintry night, I made a snowman, very round and tall. The next day when I saw him, he was not the same at all. His hat had slipped, his arms drooped down. He really looked a sight. It made me start to wonder, what do snowmen do at night? I think that snowmen start to slide when it gets really dark, off the lawn and down the street, right into the park. They gather in a circle while they wait for all the others, sipping cups of ice-cold cocoa made by snowman mothers. Then the snowman games begin. They line up in their places, each one anxious for his turn in the snowman races. After everyone has had a chance at racing once or twice, they go on over to the pond to do skating tricks on ice. Sometimes they start giggling, and then they act like clowns. They bump into each other till they all fall down. They gather up their snowballs, the pitcher takes his aim, and underneath the moonlit sky, they play a baseball game. No one knows just how it started, but soon it's quite a sight, with snowmen throwing snowballs in the world's best snowball fight. Then it's time for sledding. It's a wild ride down the hill. Wahoo! They yell. This is by far the snowmen's favorite thrill. Uh-oh, check it out. Finally, they're tuckered out and getting sleepy. So they gather up their things and one by one, they go. So if your snowman's grin is crooked or he's lost a little height, you'll know he's just been doing what snowmen do at night. Okay, boy, I saw a couple of our sequencing words as I was reading that story. Let's take a look here and talk about the sequence of that story. I have a little chart with our sequencing words. First, next, then, after that, then, finally. And I know we saw finally and then when I was reading that story just now. So what we need to do is, what happened first in that story? Well, I have a couple choices. The snowmen go to the park and drink cocoa. No. The snowmen have races and go to the skating pond. Well, that happened near this story, but not the very beginning. The snowmen are go tired and go home. I think I know where that goes in the story. I'm going to put that one over here. The snowmen play baseball and have a snowball fight. Now, that was in the middle. The snowmen go sledding. I feel like that happened toward the end, so I'm going to put that over here. The boy notices his snowman looks different and wonders what they do at night. Okay, that happened first. So don't worry, you don't have this project. I'm just going to do it here for us all to see. So first, the boy notices his snowman looks different and wonders what they do at night. And I also know that this happened at the end of the story. The snowmen are tired and go home. I'm going to put that where it says finally. That's the last thing that happened. At the end was where you put something that says finally. Now, I don't quite remember the sequence in the middle of the story. I know that sledding was the very last thing they did. So I know it goes right there. But the rest of them, I better review real fast. The ones I'm looking for are baseball game and snowball fight. Put that right there. They go to the park and drink cold cocoa. Okay, I'm not sure where that one goes. They have races and go skating at the pond. All right, well, let me look at the sequence in my book that I'm reading. Snowman. Okay, there's our beginning. Okay, first, the boy notices what happened to the snowman. Next, they start to slide. That's not one of my choices. After that, putting together some sequencing words all of a sudden. So first they do something. Well, let me see. Where is it? First, the boy notices his snowman is slumped. Then he says, what do they do? He thinks they slide down the road. Okay, they slide down the road. Aha! Aha! Next, they gather in a circle and drink ice cold cocoa. I'm going to put that right there. Ice cold cocoa. All right, telling things in order. What happens next, I wonder? Oh, next. Next, The snowman games begin. They line up in their places, each one anxious for his turn in the snowman races. Okay, snowman races go next. Here we go. And it says go skating at the pond. I wonder. Yep, there it is. Snowman races and then skating at the pond. All right. Little glue there. Okay, last one. According to what I have left, they play a baseball and have a snowball fight. Let's find out what happens after that. Okay, skating. Here we go. No, that's not it. There we go. Baseball game. Snowball fight. All right. Then they go sledding. And finally, so finally is the one that comes at the very end. Finally, do you can see it written there maybe? They're tuckered out and then they go home. All right, so finally is at the end. Now, most of these, the order could be switched around. It could be first, next, then, after that, then. You can switch the after that's, the next, the then. First has to be first. Finally has to be at the end. And there are others out there that you might discover when you do the next part of this project. This is part 1. Part 2 is tomorrow's STEAM activity. So for part 1, here's what I want you to imagine. If you were a snowman at night, what would you do? What would you do if you were a snowman at night? Would you build a snowmobile buggy? Would you build a snow pony? Would you go sledding? Would you go skating? Would you drink ice cold cocoa? What kind of adventures could you have if you were a snowman who came alive at night? Use your imagination. This isn't realistic. This is imaginary. Imagine this could happen. When you have a story in your brain, you may want to talk to your grown-up or your brother or your sister about it. Talk about what you would do if you were a snowman at night. Then, using our sequence words, I want you to write about it on this sheet of paper. At the top it says, if I were a snowman at night, I would, what would you do? First, I'm going to use stuff from the story because otherwise I'll give you ideas of what to write. And I want you to write your own thing. So I'm going to use stuff from our story. First, I would drink ice cold cocoa. Next, I would go sledding. After that, I would play baseball. Next, okay, on and on. Fill the whole thing. A bunch of sentences using your sequencing words. Tell things in order. So you can't say, if I was a snowman, I would go to bed. Next, I would throw snowballs. After that, I would wake up. That's not the right order. You got to put things in the right order. You got to put them in the right sequence. Okay, when you get this writing done, hang on to it. You're going to need it for part 2, which we're going to work on for STEAM tomorrow. All right, have fun with this, boys and girls. Use your imagination. Be creative. You guys have so many good stories to tell, and all of us teachers love hearing what you have to say. All right, I will see you tomorrow.